This is Hardwick Hall, or to be more precise, this is Hardwick Old Hall. James Hardwick wanted to enlarge his birthplace, so he started to extend the hall. When he died in 1581, the estate was bought by his sister Elizabeth, better known as Bess of Hardwick, and she went on to make even more alterations to the hall. When her husband the Earl of Shrewsbury died in 1590, Bess used the money to build a new hall just across from the other. The inaccurate rhyme "Hardwick Hall, more glass than wall" refers to this house. However, she didn't just abandon the old hall, in fact it was still being finished by the time the new one was started. Both halls were used, which explains why the new hall wasn't as large as some Elizabethan houses. In fact, Hardwick's old hall didn't become ruinous until the 18th century. Bess is a very famous Tudor lady, who was born into minor gentry, but went on to become the second richest woman in England, next to the Queen. She was married 4 times, and each husband was richer than the one before. The poem, possibly by Walpole, starts with 4 times the nuptial bed she warmed, and every time so well performed, that when death spoiled each husband's billing, he left the widow every shilling. She only had children with her second husband, William Cavendish, but it was through them children that the dukedoms of Devonshire, Portland, and Newcastle came to be. Her marriage to her 4th husband, George Talbot, 6th Earl of Shrewsbury, started off happy, but ended miserably, and the reason for this is easy to understand. It was in 1569 that Queen Elizabeth I gave the task of guarding her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, to the Earl. This wasn't a normal imprisonment, and was more like a house arrest. Mary still had to be treated like a queen. It was not only her to pay for, but a large array of servants to look after. Most of the bills on Mary's upkeep was actually spent by the Earl's own money, despite many letters to the Queen asking for compensation, and this was to go on for the next 15 years. Bess's daughter Elizabeth married Charles Stuart, Earl of Lennox, who was a descendant of Henry VIII's sister Margaret. He had a claim to the throne, and unfortunately Charles and Elizabeth didn't follow protocol and ask for royal permission. All people with a claim to the throne was meant to ask for royal permission. This outraged Queen Elizabeth, who ordered both Bess and Charles's mother Margaret to the Tower for their part in arranging the marriage. A girl was born from this marriage called Arbella. Arbella's parents died when she was young, so she lived with her grandmother Bess. After the execution of Mary Queen of Scots, Arbella and Mary's son James VI of Scotland were the closest heirs to the English throne. Elizabeth invited Arbella to court, where she seemed to like her very much. Elizabeth even said of Arbella, "Look well at her, for she is not so unimportant as you may think. One day she will be even as I am." However, Arbella soon alienated the Queen with her behaviour. She acted like the heir. That was something that was only going to receive the displeasure of the Queen. Arbella was sent back to live with Bess, who treated her in a similar manner to as how Mary Queen of Scots was also treated. Bess in part was driven to this by the fears of Catholic plots that was rumoured to kidnap Arbella to replace Elizabeth with her. When James VI became James I of England, Arbella found royal favour once again. This was not to last long though. Arbella also had a secret marriage to another heir of the throne, William Seymour. When the king found out, he went into a fit of rage. The couple thought about escaping to France, but Arbella was captured and brought back to the Tower, where she died at the age of 40. Hardwick Hall went with the Dukes of Devonshire, and they actually used the house as dower house later on for Duchess Evelyn, the 9th Duchess. The Duchess lived here all through the Second World War, and she even repaired some of the many tapestries herself. In 1959, the house was transferred to the National Trust because it was sold by the Devonshires to help pay off death duties. The old hall is in the care of the English Heritage as well.